you're going to do the entire outside portion of your test, okay? And then they're going to have you come in here and they're going to say, hey, we're going to test your lights. They're going to stay on the outside and you're just going to do the left turn signal, right turn signal, headlights. They're going to make sure all your lights are functioning, okay? Then they're going to get in and they're going to say, go ahead and start your in-cab inspection. And it's going to go something like this, okay? The first thing you're going to tell them is my seatbelt is properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, damaged, or broken, not ripped, torn, or frayed, and it latches securely, okay? I'm now going to conduct a safe start. I'm going to make sure my brakes are set. I'm going to make sure that I'm in neutral. I'm going to turn my key to the on position. I'm going to make sure my gauges sweep, and then my lights come on and go up, including the ABS light and my check engine light. And once those are off, I'll start my truck. Now for me, again, I'm going to show you how I do it. It's not the only way to do it, so you need to develop your way of doing it. But it needs to include all of what I'm about to tell you. I always start from the outside and work my way in. So the first thing I'm going to talk about, driver's side mirror, passenger side mirror, and hood mirrors. They're all properly mounted and secure. They're not cracked, damaged, or broken. They are clean, and they are adjusted to me, the driver. Now I just start moving my way in. The next thing I see is my windshield wiper arms and windshield wiper blades. Make sure they're properly mounted and secure. They're not cracked, damaged, or broken. The rubber is not ripped or torn. I'm going to ensure that they work. I'm going to make sure that I have windshield wiper fluid, or as I call it, go-go juice. All right. Next thing I see is my windshield. My windshield is properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, damaged, or broken. It's clean, and it's free of any illegal stickers. By illegal stickers, I mean I've been to Omaha. Eat at Joe's Pizza, right? So we can't have any of that stuff on there. We do have some stickers on here. You see our Rail Safe 7 up here, but it's up and out of the way. So what they're talking about is illegal stickers that are in the way. Okay? Next thing I'm going to do as I move in, I see my gauges. So I'm going to talk about my gauges. I'm going to check my oil, my water, and my voltmeter.
Which one's the water?
The water is lower right-hand corner. Okay? The voltmeter is the 14.1 or 14.2 volts is what it should read when it's running. Okay? I check my oil, my water, and my voltmeter to make sure they're in normal operating ranges. Now, each truck will have its normal operating range. You'll have to learn your truck. But just say normal operating ranges. For your fuel gauge, you're going to check to make sure that you have enough fuel for the trip. And you're going to check your DEF to make sure you have at least 1/8 of a tank. I'm going to check my primary and secondary air gauges to make sure that they're normal operating ranges, and they should be building up to the air governor cutout between 120 and 140 psi. Now I'm going to move back in. Next thing I see is my directional, so I'm going to talk about my signals. My left directional is working correctly. My right directional is working correctly. And my four ways are working correctly. I'll turn my headlights on. My low beam indicator has come on. My high beam indicator has come on, letting me know that those are working properly.
You do the low beam one more time?
Low beam is just the green light that's out there.
Okay.
Again, next day, move in. My city horn or electric horn works, and my air horn works. Okay. Now, while you're in my truck, if we're driving and you see a little kid doing this number, you are required to honk the horn. If I find out you don't do that, you're going to lose your opportunity to drive, because it does two things. One, it makes that kid smile, right? And I remember as a kid, I loved when somebody do that. The second thing it does, it scares the crap out of the parents, because they're not expecting that horn to go off. So you get a double bonus. You see them go, yell at your kids. Anyway, so kind of fun. But yeah, we like to do that, kids. Don't do it when the cops are around. They don't like it when we blow our horns. Okay? So now we got the horns, and now we're back to me, the driver. So now I'm going to move left to right. So the next thing I'm going to do is talk about my heater defroster system. We're going to put our heater defroster on the split between the foot and the defroster. You're going to turn your heat all the way to super hot and turn your fan all the way to high. And you should be able to reach forward and feel hot air coming out the top and hot air coming out the bottom. Okay. Above in that glove box, I have spare fuses and circuit breakers. Behind me, underneath the bunk, I have 3 reflective triangles, and under this side I have a minimum 10-pound BC fire extinguisher that's fully charged and properly mounted and secured underneath the bunk. Okay. So now we come back to me. Okay. So now I would do a tug test, which we're not hooked to the trailer, so I'm not actually going to do the tug test. I'm going to talk you through it. Okay. So for a tug test, you would say, okay, I'm going to test my trailer brakes. I'm going to push in my tractor brakes. I'm going to wait for the hissing to stop. Once the hissing has stopped, I would put myself in a low forward gear, and I would tug gently against my trailer brakes and the coupling system to make sure that I'm coupled securely and that my brakes are working. So once the hissing is, you would do that, you would push that in. Once the hissing stopped, you just give a gentle tug. You should feel the tractor lift a little bit, okay? Then you'd set your trailer brakes and say, I'm now going to do that same process with my tractor brakes. So you would push that in, and again, you would wait for the hissing to stop, and then give a little press on the accelerator, and you'll feel the tractor lift.
So as far as my trailer brakes, I would pull that out, then press the tractor brake. So
Exactly. So you pull the trailer brake back out. You know, we could do the tractor brake test. You push it in, all right? Wait for that hissing to stop, which takes a little while. What it's doing is it's stabilizing the air in the system, retracting the brakes. Once it stops, you just put yourself in a low forward gear. I do have the brakes on, thank you. Then all you're going to do is just give a little gentle tug. You don't have to do a whole lot, right? You should just feel the tractor lift a little bit, okay? Then you set your tractor brakes back. Say, I know those systems are working correctly. The next test would be a service brake test. Again, because we're not hooked to the trailer anymore, I'm just going to talk through it. You would say, I'm going to push in my tractor and my trailer brakes, wait for the air to stabilize and the hissing to stop. I would put my truck on a low forward gear. I would pull forward at no more than 5 miles an hour. I'd press the service brake. The truck shouldn't pull left or right. That's what I'd be looking for, right? So that's the service brake test. Then you're going to get into the air brake test, okay? Now this is the pass-fail portion, okay? So the first test is the air governor test. You're going to say, my air governor test, I'm going to fan my brakes down to at or below 90 PSI. In this particular truck, we're going to put it just below 100, okay? And what's going to happen now is my compressor should kick on. It should start building pressure up to the air governor cutout between 120 and 140 PSI. Once it gets to that point, I should hear a release or a hiss of air letting me know that my governor is working. Okay? So now you're going to sit here with your inspector in a very uncomfortable silence for about 60 seconds or more. Okay? Roll your window down just a hair so you can hear the hiss. And this truck, for whatever reason, is particularly quiet. If you're watching your gauges, and you should be, there's a little line between 100 and 150. That stands for 125. This particular truck will hiss just after it crosses that 125 pound mark. Okay?
I don't mean to cut you off. I'll tell you when you want to get that.
So right now we're at the 125, and as soon as it gets beyond that, we're going to hear that hiss.
Because all this you do with the truck running?
The governor test, yes. There's a release of air. So you would point out, there's that release of air I was listening for, so I know my governor is working correctly. And then you would say, okay, so the next test is the applied leak test. This is the start of shutting the truck off, okay? So you would say, on my applied leak test, I would turn my truck off. I would turn the key back to the on position so that my gauges are on, my lights are on. If I wasn't on level ground, I would shock my wheels. But as I am, I'm just going to release both my tractor and my trailer brakes. And again, we're not hooked to a trailer, so I don't have to really set that. We're going to let the air drop. Once the hissing stops, I'm going to press my foot on the service brake pedal. I'm going to hold it down for 60 seconds. And in that 60 seconds, I should not lose more than 4 PSI for a combination vehicle equipped with an air brake trailer. And yes, you have to say all of that.
How would I time 60 seconds exact?
In your head counting, or you could use your watch. But here's what's going to happen. You're going to press and you're going to hold that. And you're going to go 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. You're going to get to about 15, and they're going to ask you, did you lose more than 4? And you're going to say, no, I did not. They're going to say, move on to the next test. in which case let go and move on to the next test. Okay. They're not going to make you hold it the full 60 seconds. Okay, not on test day. So the next test is the alarm test. You're going to fan your brakes to approximately 55 psi, at which time a visual alarm should come on my dash and I should hear an audible alarm in my truck. Well, you can see my visual alarm came on. I can hear my audible alarm came on, so I know that system is working correctly. The next test is my button pop test. I'm going to continue to fan my brakes to between 20 and 45 psi, at which time both buttons should pop out. And my button popped out. Now it would have come out sooner if I had the trailer brakes on, but I didn't have it on because when I hooked up. But once those both come out, that noise stops. So that's the advantage of having this newer truck. In the older trucks, it keeps going. Okay? So if the noise stops, you know both of those buttons have popped out. Gives you another second reference of, did they both pop out? Yes, the noise is off. Okay? Once you're done with that, you would point out both my buttons have popped out. That lets me know that in a massive loss of air, my truck and trailer will come to a complete stop. Okay? And then they'll say, go ahead and start up your truck. Let the pressure build back up. That's the in-cab through air brake. We will do that every day from this point forward, right before we go to lunch. Each one of you will sit in this seat. You'll do the entire in-cab all the way through the air brakes. That way you guys are getting the practice of doing it. Okay?
So that concludes the air brake test.
All right.
Questions about that?
Stop the door, man.
No, I'm still taking all the information.
Stop the door, man, because you don't want all that on one.
Yeah.